And the stream is up. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the second ever edition of the EXFL track analysis. Doing Tier 1 this weekend. Tier 1 Saturdays at, I believe it is 3:10 p.m. BST. They will be racing for Tier 1 here at this racetrack. You can already tell what it is. It's the only track sponsored by VinFast in this game. It's Vietnam. Tier 1 and Tier 2 will be racing at Vietnam this weekend for EXFL. And, oh boy, this is going to be a cracker of a race. So, Vietnam. One of the most interesting tracks, or the most interesting track in this game. And it's the only track in the history of Formula 1 games to have never featured, or to have never been raced in Formula 1. So, this is a fantasy, you can pretty much call this a fantasy track now. Fantasy track. So, here we are on the front straightaway at the grid. This is the pole setter's view when they're ready to begin their rundown towards the first turn. It's an interesting view, I guess. It's a fairly decent long run down towards the first turn. I mean, it's no as long as, say, the run down to Monza turn 1 or Mexico turn 1. Maybe along the lines of possibly a little longer than Australia run to turn 1. Probably that. So here we are on the grid. And the lights go out and away you go. Down the track. That's the lights. The racers will make their way down the decently long main straight to make their way towards turn 1. What an interesting... This is a very weird turn 1. This turn 1, it opens up right at the start and then it just closes in when you reach the end of the corner. It just... So, if you're 4 wide, if you're, let's say, 4 wide heading into the first turn in the midfield, oh dear. Because, this corner is not really meant for 4 wide action, but it opens up and then closes. It's a very interesting turn 1, and, it would have been interesting to see what real-life Formula 1 would have done in this corner. But, unfortunately, we will never know what would have happened. Now, before we get to turn 2, one extra thing I would like to address. A very interesting pit exit. Can I enter it in photo mode? No, I can't. That's unfortunate. The pit exit is a weird one. As you can see, it comes out completely cutting turn 1, which leads straight through the apex of turns 2 and 3. And it's not very good, because 2 cars could easily collide. One car coming out of turn 1, making their way towards the outside of the track. Photo skills. I think they were towards the outside of the track, because that's the ideal race line. You can see anyone that comes out of pits is going to come out straight into the line of other cars, so they have to be very careful. Very, very careful when they are, preparing themselves. When they're leaving the pits, they just gotta be careful. All drivers, be aware. Turn 2, I guess, while we're on the topic. Here's turn 2 right here. As you exit turn 1, we'll head back here real quick to show you that again. Once you exit turn 1, I don't think you should hit the curb, because that curb can really slow you down. So get as close as you can to that curb before making your way from the apex. As you can see where all the racing lines are, you can make your way from the apex, slowly clawing your way to the outside of the track. And the outside, of course, way out here, the outside of the track is going to be the quickest way around, but at the expense of, if the pit window's open, drivers are going to have to be very wary of cars coming back into the racing line. That could be a very big issue. Here's turn 3. It's another very interesting corner, and a pretty dangerous one, too, because if you turn in too early, that's a very deadly wall right there. Just waiting to take your front wing. So turn 3, you make your way from the very right side of the track, at least from this point of view, you're on the right side, so you make your way from the far side of the track into the near side, clip the curb as best you can without hitting this wall here. Hit the curb, puts you in a good position for turn 4. This little kink right here. Track designers, I don't know why they added that kink. If it were me, I would have just straight lined it. That's what I would have done. Just straight line it. But yeah, turn 4, very easy to actually miss. If you have a poor line coming out of turn 3, you are most certainly you might just miss this corner entirely, risk getting a warning or even a penalty for missing this corner. It's a tricky corner too. So yeah, turn 4, dangerous. It's not as dangerous as turn 3, let's say, but this corner actually could be a hotspot for some decent overtaking as well. We haven't really talked about overtaking. There's turn 1 over there. Definitely overtaking opportunities in turn 1, but not many will probably seize those opportunities, mainly because it's a really tight corner. But in Tier 2, you might see people sending it, or maybe even Tier 1 as well. You never know. Here's turn 4, though. It's a pretty simple corner. Me personally, I put my car halfway on this curb. 2 wheels are on this side of the tarmac, 2 wheels are on this side. Maximizing the track limits and not getting warnings. And also gives you the best line heading onto the first DRS straight. As you can see, this wall right here will close up on you as you make your way down this straight. And once that wall closes up on you, that could be bad. So yeah, avoid that wall as best you can, and then you activate DRS for a long straight. One of the many features this track has, long straights. You make your way down this long straight. It's a pretty good overtaking opportunity as well as you make your way towards, I believe, we're on turn 6, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Okay, I believe this is turns 5, 6, 7, and 8 heading into this complex. Here's, I believe, turn 5. Very heavy braking zone, 8th to 2nd gear. And in this corner, in qualifying, you're definitely going to be seeing drivers maximize their track limits by putting pretty much all 4 wheels over this curb, but not too much. That'll invalidate you. But this little complex of corners can be easily cut, so yeah. You might see a lot of drivers in Tier 1 and Tier 2, both tiers, cutting both of these corners pretty ferociously in qualifying. In the race, maybe not so much, but in qualifying, you'll definitely be seeing drivers cut this corner to gain maximum time. And then, it's also not a bad overtaking opportunity, but it's also not a great one, because if you see the corners that lie ahead of you, if you're on the inside, that immediately becomes the outside for this corner, and that's not ideal, so you might not be in with a good chance at overtaking in this corner, because not only do you get left on the outside for turn 6, you get left on the outside for turn 7 as well. This long 180-degree loop corner, whatever it is. This corner, it's a very long one, and with damage off, you can wall ride it, so huzzah. This corner requires tons of patience. If you're not patient, you're going to crash into the exit wall, as you can see up here. This exit wall, you will hit it if you are impatient and get on the throttle too early. So, this corner is all about just being patient and waiting for the perfect time to hit the throttle, and then rocket your way up the longest straight in the game. Everyone's favorite feature, this. Incredibly long straight, easy overtaking opportunity, and even up here, this far up, you haven't even enabled DRS yet. DRS does not get activated until you reach this Expo 2020 Dubai board, the world's greatest show. There's your DRS sign right there. DRS is enabled right here, and then it's a big long right turn. And then another long right turn. Yeah, I can see why a lot of people don't like this track, mainly just because of how many straights there are, especially this one. People said Baku's straight is cool. Look at this straight. This thing is just long. Speaking of long, we have a long, heavy braking zone. I forgot. I've lost count of the corners, so whatever. So here's probably the #1 prime overtaking opportunity. The very tight hairpin. It doesn't close up like turn 1. It actually opens up, if anything. So around the outside might work. So I wouldn't be surprised if drivers will be making their overtakes around the outside here in this corner. So we'll see what drivers do end up doing in Tier 2 and Tier 1. In 2 days, Tier 2 will begin. That begins Fridays at 7 p.m. British Standard Time. And you come out of this hairpin for, ooh, wow, you guessed it, another pretty long straight. No DRS this time, though. So, this straight, not long enough for DRS, but it's still a long straight that people don't really appreciate, so yeah. But it does make another overtaking opportunity here. It's another one of those curves where I believe you could completely just destroy track limits, and then you'll be fine. But I'm not sure. I don't really push the track limits in this corner very much. So you clip the curb, then you clip the other curb. Watch out for this wall. It creeps up on you like a lot of the other walls at this track. And be wary for cars that might actually send it on their opponents in this corner, because it's possible. And then the place where there's no overtaking whatsoever, it is pretty much a city version of the S's, of the Suzuka S's. It's a very interesting concept, but this is a lot of the drivers' favorite features of this track. The long S section. Really no overtaking chance through here. And, but, not to say it's impossible, but the S's are a very unique feature of this track. And another unique thing, the pit entry. You just shoot your way out of the final S, and then into the pits. It's a long pit lane too, and 37 miles an hour, 60 kilometers an hour. That straight could be fairly brutal, or at least the pit road. Front wing changes, which could be very likely. You might see a lot of front wing changes in the race, so be wary for that. And then the final 2 corners here. This one right here, this is not really an overtaking chance, but if you're feeling lucky, you can send one on the inside and then make an overtaking attempt. It's possible, but I personally wouldn't recommend it. And then the final corner, it's another weird one with the wall. It creeps up on you, so definitely hit this curb. It'll make it quicker, but this wall, be very careful for that wall. It will creep up on you, and then you'll hit it, and then you'll get shot off into the wall right here, and then your race is pretty much over. Open up DRS for the final time, and that is a lap of the Hanoi Street Circuit that F1 will never race on because it got canceled. And that is this week's Tier 2, Tier 1 EXFL track analysis. Join us on Friday, January 22nd, and Saturday, January 23rd, 2021, for the EXFL Vietnamese Grand Prix. Last season, I heard it was a cracker in both tiers, so we'll see if we're in for a treat again. And that's all I got. That is Beatnik's track analysis. And in Tier 2, can Endamarch win again and make it 3 in a row? Well, you're going to have to find out tomorrow or in 2 days, whatever it is for you. Find out on Friday if Endemarch can pull off another stunning victory, and find out on Saturday if the fake TB could pull off his second win of the season, or can Max pick up his second win of the season, or will we have a third different winner? Join us this weekend to find out in this unpredictable race. So long.